Hey everyone, it's Peter from Argo. This is part 2 of the Twitter Q&A for early December 2021. Let's get into the second round of questions. P.O. Farrell at P.O. Farrell 1. Is there any effect from chip shortages to Argo going forward? I think there's effects kind of across, the whole, technology space. Obviously, we've seen, trucks not getting made because they don't have the chips. We've seen lots of ramifications of chip shortages, not just in the crypto space. I think the fact that there was the China Bitcoin mining ban earlier this year kind of lessened the impact that we would have seen on the chip shortage, because all of a sudden there were machines that needed a home, and so there was a secondary market for rigs that wouldn't have happened if there hadn't been the China mining ban. And then 2022, from what we've seen, is very, being really well planned out. I think one of the big changes we've seen in the space over the last 2 or 3 years, especially over the last 12 months, is that the time to buy machines, companies are buying machines 2 quarters, 3 quarters out, in some cases like a year ahead of time. That wasn't the case certainly 12 or 18 months ago. There still are machines you can buy in the spot market. There's still a healthy secondary market. But I think all of the planning that's taking place, that companies are taking part in terms of making sure that they have machines, in the hopper or being delivered in the future, is taking a little bit of the sting out of the chip shortages. So we don't think it's going to have a big impact on us. We certainly have enough manufacturers and suppliers that we're having conversations with. We're happy with kind of what we're thinking in terms of our, installation plan for 2022. But it's obviously something that we need to watch very closely. Scotty2 at Scotty, a bunch of numbers, 275, a bunch of numbers. Hey team, could you update us and the market on the status of investments outside of Argo, WonderFi, and Pluto? I hope are about to have the ultimate alt season, yet it seems markets do not value. Well, I just spoke about Pluto, so don't need to kind of get back into that. WonderFi, I check in with those guys once in a while. They're obviously doing really well. Their share price is up, getting lots of traction. They're clearly in the right space, on the right market, on the right exchange. So that's awesome. In terms of investments in DeFi and Web 3.0, you will be hearing more from us very soon about that and how Argo is kind of leaning into that world. Won't get into it right now, but obviously the external investments are awesome, but we also want to be doing things internally. And that's kind of what we see as one of our key differentiators. All right, thank you for the question. Toby Lewis at TI Toby Lewis TL something Toby Lewis. As a blockchain company and not just a Bitcoin miner, do you plan to jump on the latest hype of decentralized video rendering, transcribing, data storage, mining? So the short answer is it's not on our agenda right now, Toby. Obviously, we're aware of the trend in the space, and I think it makes sense for people who are running machines that are running non-ASIC miners, i.e. that are mining with GPUs. But for us, the vast majority of our machines are ASIC miners, and those are not useful at all for rendering or data storage, mining, or any other function other than mining crypto or mining the algorithm that they're mining. So the answer is no, we're not planning to jump on that right now. All right, next question, Josh at Josh_100. Hi guys, Argo and Riot are going the infrastructure route, while Marathon's strategy is simply to buy mining machines. Mara CEO says they've crunched the numbers and it is clear way to go, but obviously you guys think the opposite. Who will win out short, medium, and long term? It's a good question, Josh. So I used to say, before we're building our infrastructure, the same thing. I used to make the same argument, and I think it's okay to do hosting when you're first getting into the game, when you have a small amount of machines, when you don't need that many megawatts. Fine to go for hosting, and we've done that in Quebec and obviously with Core Scientific in the US. But when you're scaling and when you want to be able to be the captain of your own ship, I think you need to build your own infrastructure for a couple different reasons. One is it does have a big impact on your cost. At the end of the day, when you're able to get, access 2-cent power or 2.5-cent power or 1.5-cent power versus 5-cent, 6-cent, 7-cent, 8-cent power, it's a big difference in your bottom line. And moving forward, that'll be even more the case as we get closer to the next halving, when margins will tighten, when if there's more and more hash rate, when et cetera, when the game continues to be more and more competitive. We know it's cyclical. We know margins are going to tighten in the future, and if they don't, the price of Bitcoin will be very, very high, or significantly higher than it is now. So that's one piece that we, just from a cost point of view, we believe in the long term it's more effective. But also just as important, I think, is the fact that when you have your own facility, then you touch and feel your own machines. It's like the difference between renting a house and owning a house. I mean, I've done both. I've been a renter. You don't really care. Something's broken, you kind of ignore it. That's kind of what it's like to have your machines hosted with someone else. It's like, living in a rented home where the landlord doesn't really care. At the end of the day, they're getting their rent. This is broken, that's broken. Their machines are, these machines are down. They'll take care of it, but not with the same level of urgency that you do when it's your own house, when it's your own machines. So that's really important for us. And we've felt like, if you look at the difference of our facility versus facilities we're hosting at now, there's no comparison. Our machines perform better at our own facility. So we think that's going to be the case going forward. And we want to be the captains of our own ship whenever we can be. So I think long term, there's no doubt that it's better to have your own infrastructure. I think short term, sometimes if you can get machines up very quickly with someone else, you can make that argument. But our company is about the long term. Like, we're really about building this thing for the long term. It's the only way we're going to win is to look on a very long term time frame. So that's how we see infrastructure, and we firmly believe we're moving in the right direction, particularly with having such a large piece of infrastructure that we're building out in Texas. All right, Zcash. Jason at Jason M. Rossum. How this is about the transition of Zcash. How will the transition of Zcash to proof of stake affect Argo long term, aside from the immediate jump in value? Well, it's a good question, Jason. We're looking at about a 3-year time frame. So, most of our Zcash miners, our Equihash miners, we've been running since 2019, 2020. So they're already well into their lifespan. They've already ROI'd. So we're not super worried about, 3 years out from now, them no longer being profitable. They've already way over delivered. And 3 years in crypto is a lifetime. So who knows what they'll be able to mine on Equihash in 3 years from now. If they're not able to mine Zcash, that's fine. We'll find another thing for them to mine on the Equihash algorithm if there's still profitable mining opportunities there. But good question. Obviously, something that we're watching. Grayster at Stuart Hampston 6. What, if any, are the implications of Zcash proposed switch to proof of work to proof of stake? Does it impact the balance sheet? This is the same question, essentially in a different form. So no, it doesn't. It's not going to impact the balance sheet for more than 3 years. If anything, it's a good thing in the short term because obviously the price of Zcash has been on a good run. So we're happy with those miners. We're happy with the profitability of them, and we'll keep running them on Zcash until we can't. All right, next question from Adstock at Idiot Boy Bouy. Hi Peter. 1, please explain Colleen Sullivan's situation, and please don't fluff the reason. Evidently something went wrong somewhere. So Colleen Sullivan left. She was for those of you that don't know Colleen, she was a well, she is an investor. She created CMT Digital. A few months ago in the summer, she announced that she was leaving CMT Digital. Actually, I think it was kind of news broke in the space that she was leaving CMT Digital. She is now taking a job running essentially a crypto fund for Brevan Howard, which is a huge fund in the UK. As part of that role at Brevan Howard, she's not able to sit as a director on other companies' boards. So she's leaving or left this. I think she already left the Silvergate board, which she was on, and unfortunately she had to leave our board. So she's still in our network. She's still a fan of the company. She's an ally. She's a friend, but she's not able to be a director, which is unfortunate because she was awesome, and we were really lucky to have her on the board. But these things happen, and it's a great role for her, and she knows it was a role she kind of couldn't say no to. Number 2, is a new chairperson going to be appointed, and if so, when? So we are in the process of looking for a new chairman. We do want to have a division between the chairman and the CEO. We think that's good corporate governance. There isn't a time frame for when we'll have a new chairperson, but it's on the list of to-dos for the board. 3, what is being done to mitigate the ill feeling of unsuccessful applicants in small DC community? So I think here you are referencing the Dickens County community, where we are hiring people for the data center we're building there. The HR team that we are working with that is building out the Dickens County mining facility, they're HR professionals, so they are doing a great job on the recruitment side, and they will make sure that people are treated with respect and fairly. And obviously people in Dickens County know that we can't hire more than we've said we're going to hire. We can only hire the people we need. We're not going to overhire. And Judge Kevin Brendel, has done a good job of setting the right expectations for the folks in the community. So we're confident that it'll be handled in a professional and proper way. But good question. It is a small community. All right. I think there's a few lighthearted questions. Kev at Is It Now? I hodl for a new car. I hodl for a mortgage. Sometimes I hodl for a holiday. Why does Argo Blockchain hodl? So it's kind of a philosophical question, is it not, Kev? So we hodl because we believe that Bitcoin is an appreciating asset, and we think it's going to continue to increase in value. And whenever we've sold Bitcoin, going back to 2019, 2020, when we didn't have, we weren't in the same kind of, situation that we're in now, we regret selling Bitcoin. So that's why we hodl. I like the poem / philosophical question. Trainer Beast at Trainer Beast. What is the one thing you would have liked to have done differently in the past year? I also want to wish everyone employed or invested in Argo good health and every success. Whenever we have an opportunity to bet on ourselves, I think we should bet on ourselves. So this past year, there was a couple times where we probably could have leaned more into betting on ourselves, and we didn't. So I think the more we build out our own team, we build out our own expertise, we build our own facilities, et cetera, the better off we're going to be in the long term. Roger Berry at 20 Socks. What's the name of the tuft of a beard on your chin? Thank you, Roger. And I know it's a little controversial, this piece of facial hair on my face. I call it a soul patch. I've had this thing for forever, for like 20 years, I think. And whenever I shave it off, it just seems to come back. I don't know if it's a spot I keep missing or what. I don't know. My wife seems to tolerate it. My children don't mock me too badly. So it just seems to be a part of my face now. And I don't know. If you really want me to shave it, Roger, let me know, and maybe I should. I thought maybe I would shave it kind of after we were listed on NASDAQ, but then I was like, it's kind of part of me, so it stays for now. Maybe we'll do a Twitter poll one day to whether I should shave it or not, but that might be not that interesting. All right, Pure Oasis at Pure Oasis 1. Is there any plans to release your own coin, Arg coin? Sounds catchy. There are no plans to release our own coin, but you might hear some plans to do something else soon. that is not a coin, but something else. But yeah, no coin. I think the kind of days of, you know, releasing your own coin are have come and gone. But we're obviously happy to mine as many Bitcoin as we can. Okay, everyone, thank you for your questions. Really appreciate you taking the time to send them in. We'll do this again soon. For now, that's all from me. Onwards and upwards.